When I wake up in the morning, drinking coffee on my balcony.
We've just got to the wreck here. Looks like the sea is absolutely stunning this morning. Beautiful day. And the guys have been getting a couple of, so we're going to go and try and get one or two on a shade spoon, and then I'm going to go through and find some prawns, and we'll do a couple of prawn baits. Hopefully we get something on the spoon. We'll catch up with you just now. Some great success with it. This will do last time I was down there, and we'll see what happens with this one. Yo, they're getting some solid fish. There's a fish of about 2 kilos that's come out. It seems like the fish are a little bit further out. I've got this one on the spoon, but I had to move from the spot over here. Go to the front. We're getting some better fish off the front and the biter out in the deeper water. So at least it's one to put in the pan. They're not bad size, but they're pretty much what we call shoal shabs or razor blades. But they're good for eating, and they're not part of the breeding stock yet. They're almost breeding fish, and they're good size to take out. They're just above 30 centimeters. I'd say this is probably about 35, 36 maybe. But this is what you should be keeping, and the bigger ones you should be putting back. Let's pop them in the cooler box to keep them fresh. Eating the spoon nicely. The guys are throwing bait on the other side, so they're keeping the fish on. And I know the lure works. We've had 2 fish on it in a couple of throws, so we'll carry on spinning and get to a couple more, and we'll have something to cook later. See if the sardines are fresh. Just tip them over. So there's blood on the bottom of the box. You know that they've defrosted. Nice colour on the fish, nice and blue. The eyes are nice and round. I got these from straight from the factory, so I know they're fresh. I was out there getting splashed and I was really wet. Collected a few nice mussels. So what we're going to do a bit later is I'll go back and we're going to cook them up, and we're going to make a curried mussel sauce that's going to go on top of that shad that we've caught earlier on. So we've got almost a metre long sinker trace, and then your hook trace, so your bait's right up in the water. Not ideal for getting stuck, because long sinker trace is a very good chance of getting stuck, but we're going to go with it. Just want to get one more shad, and then we can go on to catching some. We're going to go and look for some prawns. Do a nice prawn bait. What you got is, I've got the little tail piece coming out the back, and these fish in Australia are known as tailers because they bite off the tail. And these chaps next to me have been getting fish shad on whole sardine, and the whole sardine tends to work very, very well. I don't like throwing a whole sardine, but this is my version of a whole sardine. So I've got the tail out the back. It's not going to be good for casting, but the elf recognize it and they eat from the back. So I've got the hook sitting nice and proud, and we've got a nice mush bait ready for them to chomp. So let's just see if that works. Yep, just proved that theory was 100%. The bait hit the water and the fish committed to it straight away. Hook in the mouth and game over. So as soon as they see that little bit of tail, they commit to the bait. Make a slightly smaller bait, so if there's a blacktail, bigger blacktail around, I can also hook that. You know, shiny side inside and have the fish facing on the outside. We've got our 4 fish here, so I'm going to clean them on the rocks and then we're going to catch up with you in the kitchen. Here's just a scaled stomach. You're going to keep them, it's best to leave the scales on the fish, just keep them in the fridge, not too knife in them. Grab the guts out, throw those back in the water for the seagull. Take the scales off. I'd normally scale it before I gut it. These aren't very big fish and they're fresh, so the scales come off really easy. It's going to make a good meal when you get home. So it's good to go. Got the reflexes from the running and standing now. Got a nice little out in my bucket, washed away right at the end, then reel ended up in the drink. You've got to be really careful when you're fishing. The tide's pushing, so there's a pool at the back here. We're going to go quickly see if we can get some prawns. I'm still on the marine drive. I'm just going to show you how to pump some prawns, just go through a couple of ideas with prawns and how to keep them, when to pump them, how to look after them, and then obviously how to bait them. The main thing with pumping prawns is to keep the water fresh all the time. You're putting a lot of animals in a very small amount of water, and often what happens is guys don't tend to change the water often enough, and they end up drowning. Don't keep any dead ones, don't keep any weak ones. Make sure all your dead and your weak prawns are left out. I know it's very tempting to put them in, but when they die, they tend to take a lot of oxygen out of the water, and the water goes rotten, and the prawns that are left in the water will die very, very quickly. So when the tide is low, very difficult to pump prawns. When the tide is high, the prawns are sitting up in probably the first few inches of sand. Very importantly, get some water behind the seal of the pump. There's still a little bit of a vacuum that allows air through it. If you put water on the top of it, it sucks very, very well. Don't force the pump in like this. You want to put the pump down and suck water at the same time. As you can see, they're not very big prawns, but when you're scratching, you don't necessarily want big prawns. I like the ones with a lot of red on the back. It's an indication that they're about to go into berry, but they haven't quite gone into berry yet. Nice little handful there. So as you can see in the bucket, already one that I've picked up that's already showing signs that it's not going to make it. It's still alive, but it's a weak prawn. You can see its body's been stretched. It hasn't got a lot of nutrition, and it's going to die easily. So I'd rather get rid of this prawn, and it's not going to kill the rest of my prawns. As you can see, are in berry, which means they're harboring eggs, and they need to be put back. They work a lot better for the fish because they love the eggs, but there's literally a few hundred, maybe even close to 1,000 babies there, but I'd say probably in a few hundred babies about to be spawned. So we'll pop these back so that they can spawn and populate the swimming pool for a later date. Okay, so we've got 50 prawns after a little bit of work, and if you want to keep them alive for a long time, the best way to do it is like a bucket like this, where you can see that they are out of the water or half in the water. So they can come to the corners if they're running out of oxygen, and they can stay wet at the same time. And you can keep them for days like this. I've had them in my garage for up to a week, just either in a bucket like this or in a big polystyrene crate. And just make sure you take some fresh water with you, and just wash them off every time a few die. You can just take the dead ones out and you can just put some fresh water into the bucket. You get one on the hook, just start at the tail, feed it through the head, and just straighten it out so your hook's nice and straight. You want to get another one, just lie it next to that one, another one lie it next to that one, and another one next to that one. And this takes a bit of practice. Hold them together and just cotton them on. They're very, very soft, so you want a fish to eat them in one bite. You want to be careful that you don't kill them whilst you're cottoning them on. So you want to put them on gently, but at the same time you want them still wiggling around, like you can see these. And that's what's going to trigger a bite. A nice little bait for a bronze bream or a stone bream or a galjoen or a steenbras. Those species will take it. Let's go and pop them in the water and see what we can get. Go along these rocks and try and get it into the white water. I've caught some cracker there in the past, and I'm probably 90% sure I'm going to get a blacktail on my first throw. They're absolutely gale at the moment this time of year.
Yeah, it's a nice steenie, eh?
Well, I wasn't expecting this, but it's definitely a species that eats, come on, that eats sand prawn. It's a nice fish, nice panfish. I don't know if it'll make size, but we'll check it out on the mat, and if it's not size, we'll put it back. Okay, so what we've got is we've got a bucket here. So if you're going to be practicing catch and release and you're going to be taking a lot of photographs, very important that you have a bucket like this filled with fresh water. This is the most critical time of a fish, is the few minutes after you've got him out of the water. Like I'm out of breath, this fish is also out of breath. He's just exerted all his pressure, all his energy into fighting to get off that hook. It's like running a marathon and then you take him out of water and you can't breathe, and that's when fish tend to die. So very important that you get them into water as quickly as possible and let them recover. And once they've recovered, you can then put them on the weigh mat, take the photographs you need to take, and either keep them or return them, whatever you're going to do with them. I very much doubt this fish is going to be size, but it's a nice fish just to demonstrate how effective sand prawns are as a bait. These fish are sort of just reaching maturity. They're maybe a year, 2 years old, where those bigger fish are 10 or 11 years old, carry a lot more eggs. And it's important to ensure that we put those fish back so that we've got fish for the future. Catch cook is not all about keeping everything, it's also about educating guys on what to keep and fishing with conservation in mind. If your limit says to you you're allowed 5 fish, you don't have to take all 5. You can take 2 if that's what you need. I'll guess him around 50 odd centimeters. Yeah, 52, which is what I told Yaku. I think 60 is the limit, so we're going to have to pop this fish back in the water. This fish is still nice and active, so a chance to revive. Off we go. that concludes an amazing day. We had a really good time today. So we're going to go and get a couple of beers now and show you how to fillet the fish. And I'm going to do a nice little, I've got some mussels that I picked earlier on. We're going to make a nice curried mussel sauce. And I think maybe some mashed potato with those shad that we've caught. So we'll catch up with you in the kitchen. We're back in the kitchen. We've had a flippin' amazing morning. We've got 4 nice alfia. We've got some mussels that we collected. Prepping up some potatoes, some butternut. We're going to do a bit of char grilled butternut and make a leek and garlic and mustard mash. And then I'm going to take the mussels and we're going to make a really nice masala and mushroom sauce. So I'll show you quickly how to prep up the butternut. We're just going to cut them into rings. And then we're going to char grill them. And what you want to do is you just want to peel off the outer skin. You can leave the outer skin. I'm just doing this for presentation. I've got a griddle pan that we've had on the heater for a bit. So you don't want any oil on them. You literally just put down on the griddle pan and you just want to leave them there. You don't want to touch them. You don't want to move them because you want to get nice black marks on them. It's very important to use a cast iron griddle pan. It's not going to work very well if you've got one of those cheap non-stick numbers. Got some water boiling now and we're just going to pop these peeled potatoes. I've got some broccoli and we're going to do some broccoli and some peas with that. Okay, so it's really sharp now and we're going to start with the filleting of fish. Get your knife just gliding along the backbone. Easy, don't force it. Get it in, push it down against the bone, cut through, come through, just under the rib cage. Bring the knife through, and you've got a perfect fillet that comes off there. Same on this side, and under the rib cage, you just run the knife along the backbone. There we go, perfect fillets. Now what you want to do, for those of you who don't like skin, you're just going to, just with your fingers hold the end of the fish and run your blade through like that. Got these little pin bones that run through here. As I said before, you just take your knife and you can either remove them like that, or you can get a pin boning tweezer. Just grab the, there we go, and as you can see the little bones come out. There's not many bones here, but 1 or 2. And that's it, you've got a perfect fillet. But as you can see with this one, we've got those marks. We're going to cut it up and we're going to present it nicely when we finish the dish. One thing you've got to make sure with broccoli, don't put too much broccoli in the water. The water must be boiling really well. And if you want to improve or speed up when you're boiling, just add a lid to the top. Let's get a lid on there and a lid on here. And that'll help with speeding up the process of the water boiling. Okay, so these will go for a few more minutes. Just finish up with the fillets. That's it. Take all the scraps and you can keep those for the cat. Okay, I'm just going to get the broccoli in quickly. Some boiling water and get the lid on. Got to have a good amount of water. Water must be boiling. Pop them in, leave them for 3 minutes. Perfect. This is a bit of a long-winded process, but we're going to get onto the sauce. What you're going to need for the sauce is some milk, some cream, some white onion soup to thicken it up. It's got some nice flavors in it. Some garlic and some onions. And I'm going to use some Paco curry powder. I quite enjoy Paco. There's a lot of people that don't like it, but for me it's got a really nice flavour. We're going to start off just cutting some onions. Chop them up. and then we're going to pop them in, and this is going to be part of the mussel sauce. So we're going to just skim and put them into the pan. Okay, just want to put the knife down, just give it a little bit of a bump, take off. You've got a hard little core piece and it peels relatively easy. These are just going to go into the garlic and cream sauce just to add a little bit of flavour. Knock them. Skins. Okay, broccoli is nearly done. Just get some nice colour. Take it to the... And it's good to go. We're going to add some peas to that. Okay, let's just take these potatoes off. So, back into the pot and ready to mash. The mussels have been in for a few minutes. We're going to just take them out, put them in some cold water and get them out of the shells. Okay, we're just going to run some cold water over them so we can handle them. Okay, a couple of seconds in the cold water, drain them off. That one. Not much meat in these mussels, I think I've overcooked them. More meat in the tiny little one than there is in the bigger ones. Got a hard little mussel in there, you want to get that out. That's not very palatable. Normally comes out with a burr. This is just going to add a little bit of flavour to the curried sauce. Normally you'd take a lot more out. The tide was getting high and I couldn't get to them, so not much left there, but that's just going to be a nice little flavour to the sauce. Just got some nice salted butter here. We're going to pop a little bit of oil in the pan. We've got a few leeks. I'm just going to chop up some leeks. We're going to put some leeks in. This is going to be for the mash. So we're going to lightly fry those quickly, pop them into the pan. Again, the knob of butter. Potatoes into that. Then a kilo of mashed potato. Seems like a lot, but that's what it needs to make it taste nice. Loads of black pepper. Pop some cream in it as well. We're going to use some of the cream for the sauce and some of it for the mashed potato. Don't need a whole lot, just a good drizzle, and we're going to go in with some, turn the heat off. And a nice leek in butter and black pepper mashed potato. Nice and fluffy. And there you go. Give it a taste. Make sure you've got enough seasoning in it. And then still needs a little bit of salt. Himalayan salt tends to taste a lot more salty. It's got a lot of minerals in it, but it's much healthier salt. It doesn't have any additives in it, and a lot of minerals that are needed in your body. Okay, that's good to go. Now we can crack on with the fish. Bit of butter in the pan, a little bit of oil, stop the butter from burning. We're going to get in the garlic and we're going to get some onions in. Okay, that's going to form the basis of the sauce. We're just going to take a bit of Paco curry powder. We've got the onions frying in the pan, and we're going to put about a teaspoon of Paco mayo. Let's go with another teaspoon, just give it a little bit of heat. We're just going to add some milk to these onions that have been frying. About half a litre, and to the half a litre of milk I'm just going to add a whole packet of white onion soup. Stir it around. Normally you'd make a roux and make a sauce from that, but I found using white onion soup for people that are not able to make roux, it's a lot easier just to pop a packet of white onion soup and cook it out. Okay, it's started thickening up nicely, and we'll just add the cream to that. Just stir it in. And that's the good part, that makes it really nice. Everything's about presentation and colour, so what I've got a little bit of sweet chili sauce here, which is going to complement the dish quite nicely. And we're going to take the butternut that we char-grilled earlier, and we sort of put a little bit of a shine on it, so when you present it on the plate, it just looks a little bit nicer. So the sauce is thickening up nicely here. All you want to do is just a little bit of sweet chili sauce in the pan just to coat it so it doesn't taste all raw, and we'll just pop them in there with a little bit of butter. Okay, so you've got some really nice colour on the butternut with the sweet chili. It's just going to help it present nicely when we photograph it later. Bit of Himalayan salt going on here, and some black pepper. Don't be shy, you need a lot of black pepper and a lot of salt. It seems like it's a lot, but when it coats the fish, there's not much taste to it. Take a bit more of the Paco curry powder here, and we're just going to add that to give a bit of extra bite. Probably about a tablespoon, and that's what we're going to use to dust the fish. We're going to take a fillet, and we're going to dust the fillet in top and bottom. That's going to give it some nice seasoning. Just pat it off a bit, and then lay it away from you in the oil. They're almost good to turn now, so I'll just flip them over. Give them some colour on the other side. So we'll leave those for another minute or so, and then they're going to be good to plate. And all the veg is ready, the sauce is ready, and I'll show you how to plate it nicely. And we're going to sit down and have a good meal. Get the excess oil off, and really nice fish coming out here. I'm going to put a bit of sauce on and make it look like it's just come out of a restaurant. We're going to just add a little bit of mushroom sauce to it, or mushroom sauce, curry masala sauce over the top of that. And then to that we're going to just finish it with the mussels that we did earlier on. And we're going to just top it with some fresh herbs. And that's it, done.
You know how fish?
Yeah, this fish is nice. It's not too
Fishy.
fishy.
So the girls caught today.
Because it's caught today,
Yes.
exactly. Eats.
If it smells like fish, it's too late.
No, it smells beautiful. Like the sauce. Nice.
Very nice.
Rebecca, you eating fish for the first time? Mm-hmm. Very low in the commentary there.